Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast, sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, Global Septic, and AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. I'm Aaron Van Tile, joined tonight by Chronicle sports editor Alec Dietz and Chronicle sports reporter Josh Kirschenbaum. And we have a bit of a poetic line in here provided by Josh. Rain makes corn, corn makes whiskey, whiskey helps me deal with the schedule chaos that rain creates.
It's a little Luke Bryan for you.
Isn't that a Wakayakum? That's Zach Brown I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no, Luke Bryan. You need a little bit of country. It's baseball season.
Yeah, that's a good call. Explain the scheduling chaos. How have things looked lately?
Wet. And then everything everywhere all at once. There's the movie reference for Alec there.
Wow, look at that.
Wow.
Too many Oscars, but I digress.
Hitting every note in the first 30 seconds. You can just wrap this up. We're done here.
Does somebody want to make a Wakayakum Tough Place to Play reference? Then we can just put a bow on
this.
Just need
your
out
email to get in the way and make a noise.
It's a quality loss. Elam's Global Septic. Good night, people. See you next week.
There we have it. How has the rain been affecting things lately? Everything's been off?
Yeah, I mean, last week was spring break, so few teams were playing. Basically, everybody was off. And then
we had a podcast about it. Alec appeared on.
Yeah, you didn't invite me.
News Dump.
I still haven't gotten over it.
Yes, we got to talk about cemeteries and porn in the woods.
Yeah.
Porn in the woods, Puck. You talked about porn in the woods, and you didn't let me in. Anyway, everyone was supposed to come back from spring break, and instead it just rained all day Monday, all day Tuesday. Every game except for one got rained out the first 2 days of the week, which pushed everything back. So we had a lot of teams with like 15-day breaks.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to start with the 2Bs? That's what we got in the notes. Is everybody good with that? 2B baseball?
2B baseball.
Toledo and Adna were scheduled to play a 2-game series. Then it rained. Then they were scheduled to play a doubleheader at Toledo on Tuesday, and then it rained more. And then they were scheduled to play a doubleheader at Adna on Wednesday. And the first game went 9 innings, and they decided to make it a 2-game series. Classic move.
You asked what the rain did.
In that one game, the teams were tied for first in the C2BL. Toledo won 5-4 in the ninth. Caden Schultz and Tristan Percival squared off, two of the better pitchers in the C2BL, right?
Probably, yeah.
Combined for 23 strikeouts and 5 hits. Both left after 6 innings with Toledo up 1-0. Toledo got an insurance run in the 7th, then down to its final out before Adna tied it up with a 2-run double. Who hit the 2-run double?
Danner Hoynowski.
Danner Hoynowski,
sorry. Great name.
Yeah, good name. Toledo scored 3 in the top of the 9th. Adna only scored 2 in response, and Toledo picked up a key league win.
So, yeah, there were 5 hits in the first 6 innings. There were 12 hits in the last 3 innings, including 6 in the 9th itself. So, I mean, this was a classic 2B baseball game. Both teams threw their aces. I wasn't sure if they were going to do that. Sometimes you can, maybe throw your 2 guy, try to, not line them up and make sure that both teams steal a game. They didn't do that. Those 2 guys looked as good as advertised outside of the first, both of them. I mean, both of them were pitching for the first time in 13 days. There were a couple wild moments. Toledo took its lead on a walk, a pass ball, another pass ball, and a wild pitch. Mm-hmm. And that was the entire scoring for 6 innings. And then the bullpens got into it, and both teams thought they were going to have to play another game. So it's sort of that coaching thing of, you just threw your first guy. You don't want to throw your second guy.
So you're looking
and
down into the bullpen.
And you're looking down into the bullpen because you probably want to back your third guy off of your second guy because your second guy's probably not throwing a complete game. So you usually line up your second or third reliever with your ace, hoping that they get you a good lead to work with, and they didn't. So yeah, they were kind of going to the bottom of the middle or bottom of the bullpen, and then the pitchers kind of lost control a bit there, which is what you saw. And then, as it turned out, once they hit the 8th inning, they were like, "This game's gone on too long. We can't play a second game. We're going to get 2 innings into a second game. It's going to get dark." So as soon as that happened, Matt Gall, Toledo's coach, pulls out Rogan Stanley, who is his number 2 pitcher, and basically says, "You're our closer. If you get us out of this game in fewer than 20 pitches, we win and you can throw again tomorrow." And that paid off for them, so they won. So
interesting
yeah,
move.
and he said Stanley was going to start today, probably through a few, not quite as many as he would have, not go quite as far today. But yeah, you get to sort of back him up there.
Okay. Elsewhere in the C2BL, Ashton Demers tossed a 5-inning no-hitter for Napavine in a 10-0 win over Morton White Pass. It was the Tigers' first game back from spring break. In their last game before the break, Connor Holmes and Cal Bullock threw a no-hitter versus Wakaika. Napavine had a no-hit streak of 16 1/3 innings before Morton White Pass managed to hit in the 4th inning of Game 2 yesterday. Napavine won that game 20-5.
Real close one.
Pretty good performance.
Morton White Pass scored 5 runs without getting a hit, which
interesting.
Very fun. Yeah,
that's a fun book to look at.
Yeah. Did you see the minor league game where the team gave up a 7-run rally and lost 7-6 while throwing a no-hitter?
No, but that sounds awesome.
That's pretty good last week.
Kalama swept Winlock on back-to-back no-hitters. Ouch. Alec, is the season of the no-hitter back on?
It's back. It's back. We had 3, I think, the week before spring break all in a row, and now it's, all these no-hitters are racking up. If only Winlock and Morton White Pass could kind of learn how to hit a little bit, then maybe there would be less.
I thought you were going to say if only Winlock and Morton White Pass could play everybody every week. And it's like, that's rude.
Am I wrong?
I think both of what you said were pretty rude there, but...
Am I wrong?
Neither of you were wrong.
Anyway, current standings in the C2BL. Toledo's in first. Adna's in second, 1 game back, although that could change today.
Could change today.
Tudor Lake and Kalama are tied for third, and Napavine is in 5th.
Those are the only teams above 500. It's 5 teams looking good, and the rest.
It's the haves and the have-nots.
It really is.
Yes.
All right. This podcast is brought to you by Global Septic, providing septic service and sanitation for Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Cowlitz, and Grays Harbor counties. Septic pumping, inspection, and riser installation, commercial septic pumping, of course, grease trap services. And as you know, you've seen them driving around, they will rent you a porta potty and even a sink to go with it, so you can wash your hands after peeing outside. Visit globalseptic.com, GOEBEL septic.com, or call 360-736-2167.
Hopefully that's all you're doing outside.
Hell, you could bring your porn that you found in the woods in there.
You could. I'm glad we're getting that back in there.
I was trying to be subtle about it, and then Alec just... I opened the door and creaked it open, and it was like, that's enough, and Alec just barged through it.
No context needed.
Nope. If you know, you know. 2B softball, not a whole lot has changed with the early week games almost all getting rained out. Everyone is back in action tonight.
I figured you guys rounded up everything good last week.
Yeah, kind of. It was just kind of like a check-in on how things in general
I know last
are
week
in
was
sports.
really just you and Alec talking, and then Isabel getting to...
Being like, talk about tennis. And they're like,
And maybe news every once in a while. It was just the sports dump, really. That
Yeah. The one game that did happen, Rainier shut out on Alaska 1-0. Riley Cruz from Rainier tossed a complete game shutout, gave up 7 hits, struck out 8, didn't walk anybody. Lisa Liddell from Onalaska also tossed a complete game with gave up 8 hits, struck out 12, and didn't walk anybody. These are 2 underclassmen heavy teams. They might not be Adna level, but they could
Spoiler
definitely.
alert, they're not.
They could. Alec was just on one today, but could definitely make runs with those 2 pitchers. Is Adna still far and away the number 1 of the 2Bs?
yes. Who knows? They haven't played anybody.
They are 1-2 right now.
Not according to the RPI board.
A month into the season, they are 1-2.
No, I think they played a couple more than that, but
have they?
I think
No, they're
like
1-2.
I think they're like
they lost to
3-5.
Rochester. They lost to some 4A team, and then I don't know if the Hawkinson game counts. They got like 2 innings in, and they were up 3-0. So
I saw when I looked online, the Hawkinson game was counting, and I think they played Castle Rock too.
Yeah, and that's the only one.
Yeah.
So
They have not
if
played
the
a league
Hawkinson
game yet.
game counts, they're 500. But
Yeah,
point still applies. They have not played much, but
I
have faith that Adna softball will be good.
I have
Hot take.
The thing we talked about last time, you have no clue what happens under them, and that game behind Adna.
Yeah.
And that game proved was writing these notes. I was like, I started typing Rainier and Onalaska with those 2 pitchers could steal a game from somebody, but I don't even know if it's stealing a game from somebody if nobody is really that level.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I think there's kind of a mishmash of.
I was really impressed with Liddell, actually. She started out throwing mostly off speed, and then in the 4th inning, Rich Teitzel basically there was a whole thing with Rainier picking signs off him, And then he was just like, how about you just throw it by them? And then she did that for 4 innings. And it was like, it was like the Princess Bride joke, right? With the like, I am not left-handed. It's like, I actually can throw 10 miles an hour faster than I was starting out at, which like, why don't you just throw that fast to start? But you know what? It worked for her. And then Riley Cruz was kind of the opposite. She just fluttered in every single pitch ended up in the dirt. And Rich Teitzel on the third base line, just like progressive descent into madness at his team, just fishing every single time. And they just never made the adjustment. And Cruz is one where, I mean, she's an 8th grader, right? If she does that over and over again, she'll start to get figured out, but she's got so much time to figure out how to mix in the faster stuff. I think, and then Liddell's a sophomore, I think.
Yeah.
So, like, 2 young pitchers that could really turn into something here.
All right, and nothing else. What are the standings in the 2B? So, has there been enough games for there to be standings?
No.
It's weird.
I started
Toledo's undefeated, I know, for softball, so they're kind of in that mix as well. Rainier, obviously, still undefeated.
Toodle's decent.
Ani has now 2 league losses to Toledo and Rainier.
I think I saw Napavine just split with Toodle.
Maybe.
And those are 2 teams that are kind of in that second level. But yeah, I thought about putting standings together, and I decided to wait until Adna's played a league game.
Yeah.
In the 2B softball RPI standings,
Oh, good Lord.
Boy.
Rainier is number 5,
Sure.
Toledo is number 7, PL Valley is number 8, and Kalama is number 9. Owen Forks is number 10.
Sure.
Okanagan is number 1.
Sure.
None of this means anything.
No.
Unless you're a fan and you are.
Adna is
in the
currently
comment section.
slated to play its league opener tonight in Cathlamet.
If the season ended today, the committee would still put Adna number 1. 3
Well,
games in.
probably. Like, I'm sure there's a District 4 representative on the committee. It's like, all right.
Look, guys.
Yeah.
You know.
You guys ready for some Tenino talk?
Oh, yes.
The baseball team has not played a league game, and it is the middle of April. But
Should
they
change tonight.
Should change tonight. They did just beat Centralia 11-2 at Wheeler Field. They did?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Good for them. Cody Strawn, Austin Gagne, Brady Noonan, and Mikey Vassar all had 2 hits in that win. Noonan has just signed to play ball at Yakima Valley College.
Joins another South Thurston guy, and Braden Hartley going there, too.
Scatter Creek Showdown in
Every
Yaki
day
Vegas.
in Yaki Vegas. And speaking of Tenino commits, Trinity Tafoya is going to college to wrestle.
Yeah, we
That's
talked about
funny.
that last week.
Okay, I wasn't.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember because you were like, what's going in the paper? And I'm like, well, there's nothing going on. So we're writing this feature on Trinity Tafoya.
All right. And then I put it in the paper.
At, Eastern Oregon.
The soccer team found its offense with 13 goals in 2 days. They just beat EvCo 8-0. Max Craig had 4 goals. That's a lot.
It's a lot of goals.
That's 2 braces. Is that how you guys called it? The double brace?
Good.
Good, I guess. Or it's
What-
like a hat trick and some change. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a nice
There's got to be a word for like 4 goals, like a.
It doesn't happen very often at
high levels.
high levels, so it normally does not have a name.
The softball team also beat EvCo on Saturday.
That's Tenino talk, baby.
That was Tenino talk. That was talking Tenino.
You got mad at me when I left them out last time, and I was like, they haven't played any league games, so we'll get there.
Tenino
They
hasn't
still haven't
played
played any
anybody.
league games, but you guys would have gone on me.
This podcast is brought to you by Elam's Home Furnishings and Sleep Center.
When
They're-
you've had 14 days off because of rain and spring break, you just need someplace to lie down.
Yeah, and you can find that at Elam's Home Furnishings and Sleep Center. Locally owned, family owned, and here to stay. Elam's is located at 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia. You know, why don't you log on to the internet, go to elamshf.com on your web browser or your mobile device. Take a look at all the fine furnishings they offer.
Let's take a look.
Are you actually looking it up over there? You got your...
Yeah.
What'd you see, Josh? Anything you like?
Ads blocked. Ooh, there's this really good pop-up bot that asked me if I have any questions, and I could text them.
You should text them. Be like, what
Whoa,
do I
too
need?
hot. Ooh, entertainment. I like entertainment. Let's click on the shop all under entertainment.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
We're just...
Home theater seating, media consoles.
Ooh, home theater seating. There you
Okay,
go.
Pop that open.
could
Not really
watch some Tenino baseball on there.
Yeah.
I think Tenino.
Oh boy, I mean, great prices.
All right. Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery. Yeah. Check them out in Centralia, 1530 South Gold Street.
That is more than I make in multiple paychecks.
Well, they have more reasonably priced items as well, and they offer credit. You get their little promotional financing available. That probably helps with a Synchrony Home credit card. Anyway, moving on.
Set you up nice there.
It's the longest ad read ever.
In the 2As, WFS Baseball stretched its winning streak to 8 games with a doubleheader sweep of Shelton yesterday, 10-0 and 9-8. Hunter Lutman had a 6-inning shutout in the opener, allowed 2 hits, struck out 12, walked 4. He's going to LCC, right?
Yep. And he is starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean,
He has figured it out, it seems.
Going into this year, his big thing was control. Like, he would have all those games where, 5 innings before he hit his pitch count because he'd strike out 12 and walk 8. And so far, he's gotten those walks down. And that's it for him.
Are they undefeated?
They are not undefeated because they lost to Linden and Sela.
Oh,
so they're
that's right.
undefeated in league.
That was over there, like over the mountains road trip to start things, right? All right. Tumwater righted the ship after a surprise loss to Aberdeen. Aberdeen beat Tumwater?
Aberdeen beat Tumwater.
I'll be damned.
They had like 11 errors or something, so.
Well, strange things happen in Grays Harbor. Were they
It
in
was
Aberdeen?
at home. No, it was at Tumwater.
Lost to Aberdeen at home? Interesting.
Lyle Overbay, I mean, there's only so much you can say as a coach. Like, hitting will fix itself, pitching will fix itself. 11 errors in 2 games is the sort of thing that will get a coach on his team. And I think something might have been said because they turned that into none yesterday. So they beat Rochester 10-0, and then they were supposed to play a doubleheader. And then they beat them 4-0. Well, they were leading 4-0 in the middle of the 4th, and I don't think that's far enough to get an official game. So I haven't heard any news about what's happening with that.
Okay. Alex Overbay hit his 4th homer of the year, tying him for the area lead with Adna Sawyer-Terry.
Overbay's great because you know his stats because every time he hits a home run, he tweets a video of it. And the tweet is just the bomb emoji and then the number of what home run it is. So, kid makes our job easy.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. And in the standings, WFS is 6-0. Tumwater is 7-1. So you can kind of pick who's in first between them. Have they played yet? They haven't played yet.
No, they play this week.
Is it this week?
Next week.
Yeah.
In the next 7 days. I think Tuesday, Wednesday.
On the softball side, WF West beat Rochester. They scored 4 runs early and wound up with a 6-2 win. Ellie Young pitched the whole way, gave up 9 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 1, walked 1. After WF West had a 4-2 lead in the bottom of the 3rd on a 2-run Sage Brindle homer. Young retired 12 of the last 14 batters. Just making sure I had that right. Brielle Eder and Stacia Fluch both had 2 hits for WF West. Lena Demers tossed 6 innings for Rochester, gave up 6 runs, 5 of those earned, struck out 2, walked 4. Rosenstuhl and Rasheen. This is awful.
So many names. It's not your
Cheyenne
fault.
Justice both went 2 for 3.
And Zylstra owes Alec dinner, right? Is that it?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Every game I've been to, Sage Brindle's hit a home run. So Zylstra, their coach, was joking that Sage Brindle owes me like a steak dinner if I come to the next one and she hits another home run.
You should just see what happens.
Yeah.
Also, shout out Ellie Young for all the no-hitters we're getting and these dominant pitching outings. Shout out a pitcher who lets her defense work. Complete game, 1 strikeout, 1 walk.
Yeah.
That was great. More of that.
He covered a 23 strikeout game, and I covered a
2 strikeout game.
Yeah.
That was the other thing about that, going back to really briefly, the Ani Rainier softball game was, it was 2 complete games with no walks, and I think it was 15 strikeouts. But we like people putting the ball in play, letting their defense work. And WF West has the defense that works. Like so many of the teams in this area, if your pitcher rolled 20 ground balls, then
there's gonna be an error.
There's gonna be a couple
there,
errors,
probably.
But WF West is the defense that you can. Yeah.
And Rochester, I think Demers
yeah.
only walked 4, struck out 2, and their defense was pretty stout as well. They had one kind of gaff in a rundown situation, but those are 2 really good teams. And Zylstra, WF West coach, said after the game that Rochester is scary. They saw him in that trophy game last year, so
Game before the trophy game last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
The play into the trophy game.
Consolation semifinals.
Yeah,
or
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I talked about that league last week, but it is the Wild West. There are 5 teams that have a chance to probably make districts, and then at that point, there's 4 teams that can make state if you want to throw in Ridgefield, Mark Morris, R.A. Long in the GSHL. So it's kind of a who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's also like there's a chance that maybe only one EvCo team gets into state.
Yeah. Or one
wild.
GSHL team.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea. If you asked me to pick the 4 teams, I would say I have no clue. I don't know.
And
History says you go with WF West and Tumwater to probably make it out of there, but they've shown, WF West
and Tumwater 3rd and 4th in the EvCo right now.
Lost to Centralia. Centralia just lost to Aberdeen yesterday.
And all these games are close. Like, it's not like teams are trading run. I don't know if the top 4 teams have had run rules yet.
I don't think so. I think Rochester might have run ruled Aberdeen actually, or it was 11-2, which is basically a run rule. But yeah, it's and Rochester's beaten Aberdeen. Aberdeen has come back to beat Tumwater and Centralia, who was previously undefeated. So it's and again, I keep going back to what Zylstra was talking to me about, but he said if you come out of this league with 2 or 3 losses, you're just fine.
Yeah. Our dear sweet Centralia did lose to Aberdeen 9-3. Lily Camp struck out 10 for the Bobcats, and they scored 5 in the second inning to kind of build up a lead they would never give up.
Yep, a little back to earth for Centralia, probably a little bit after they won 4 games in 4 days the week before spring break. I think they committed 7 errors, so maybe just a little bit of rust, or maybe just kind of, they probably needed one of these games to, get them. I don't know, not bring them back down to earth or whatever, but just kind of like, oh, hey, this is a very competitive league. You're not going to win every single game. And, I think they have Shelton on Friday, which is should be a good chance for them to bounce back if they take care of business.
All right. Black Hills turns a 4-0 hole into an 8-5 win over Shelton. First league win for the Wolves in 2 years. Good for them.
Just briefly.
Yeah. And then EvCo standings, Centralia and Aberdeen both 4-1 in first. Aberdeen has the head-to-head, but Centralia still has the better overall record. So Tiger fans can probably try to claim first. And WF West is a half game behind them at 3-1. Rochester and Tumwater are both 2-2, just like everybody expected at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, Centralia being up there is really messing with easy down the stretch.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's fun. It's legitimately fun to go to any one of those teams playing each other. Like going out watching Rochester and WF West. It is legitimately good softball. And the fact that they can, deal with all those ground balls or those infield flyouts, and there's just not many gaffes, and the pitching is good, and it's really fun to watch any of those teams play each other.
All right, this podcast brought to you by AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. Your comfort is their business. They offer full-service HVAC installation, services, and repair, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee with everything they do. The best part, if you are either too hot or too cold at any hour of the day, you can call their 24/7 emergency service line, 360-273-3300.
Not like us. Don't call us 24 hours a day.
No, please do not.
Just the 100% satisfaction. That's like us.
Yeah. AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. Pretty cool.
And pretty hot.
And also, alternately, pretty hot. It's time for Josh's favorite segment. Good games coming up, weather permitting. Do you want to go through these?
Sure.
You guys can handle this one.
On Friday, that's tomorrow. Good one in the 2A EvCo softball. Now we're starting to hit everybody's playing a bunch of teams starting to play each other for the second time round. Rochester softball goes to Tumwater. I was at the game at Rochester when these guys play each other. Lena Demers, Ella Ferguson, possibly probably two of the best pitchers in the league. They had a really good game the first time around. Rochester took a lead late, Tumwater scored, I think, 5 runs in the last 2 innings, and they won 5-3. That was really good. Down in the 2E level, PL Valley is going to Toledo for softball. If you want to watch PL Valley, but you live kind of close to I-5 and you want to see what they have to offer, head down to Cheesetown. I think they've had a couple games where they're supposed to come east, and most of them have gotten rained out. So hopefully this one happens. And then Black Hills Baseball versus Tumwater. It's a rivalry. It's also going to be at Cheney Stadium, and we can both say that it's a pretty cool place to play a ball game.
Yeah. Are you guys going?
No.
You go cover it?
No, too many games that day. The great thing about the Scatter Creek Showdown was there was absolutely nothing else that day. So we're like,
we can
both go to Tacoma.
An hour out of the way.
Yeah, there's too much going on Friday.
And then wrapping it up, WF West, closer to home, big rivalry. WF West plays Centralia at Wheeler Field, which really is just like as historic, as steeped in tradition as Cheney Stadium when you think about it, right?
Probably. They've got a wall with all the future pros.
Yeah, I mean, like how many pros have played at Cheney Stadium? Like
they have like banners there, I think, of former guys, but there's no
walls.
big
I mean,
wall.
you go up to the press, like the press level at Cheney Stadium. There's just like the first thing you see is the giant picture of Juan Marichal and Willie Mays, who both played there.
I guess that's better. I was expecting like a poster of Mike Zanino or something.
He's down the line.
Yeah, but Tim Lincecum, they don't have that.
No, they don't.
That's true. WFS baseball at Centralia. I mean, that's it's a rivalry steeped in tradition.
Yeah.
It's a game.
It's a game that
Anything
will
could
happen.
Well, I don't know about that.
Anything could happen.
Saturday, Kalama, Toledo. This was a game that was supposed to happen today, but because Toledo's series versus Adna got pushed back so many times, this series against Kalama also got pushed back. They're playing 2, hopefully. That's 4 games in 4 days against state contenders for Toledo. So there's your pitching depth test. Don't know if Caden Schultz would even be eligible by the pitch count. I don't entirely remember because he threw 100 pitches on Wednesday, which
You have 3 days rest after that?
at least if it's more like 4 or 5, then he might be out completely. So yeah, those games could get high scoring pretty fast. Take Sunday off. Monday, Tootle Lake at Adna softball. The closest thing to maybe interesting matchup for Adna against a 2B opponent yet. They're playing Wakaticum tonight. They're playing Winlock for 2 on Saturday, and
those will be over in how many innings?
Three
is
innings
that?
each?
12,
6 innings?
12 innings total.
yeah.
They're
So
both doubleheaders.
Tootle might give them something, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
And then Centralia at Tumwater softball, and the note I put it on here is how crazy is that this game? Like if the way you're having a good season if you're Centralia is that your game against Tumwater is on this list.
And that kind of goes for any sport.
Yeah.
Like,
But this game, I texted Alec at some point a couple weeks ago, like I am unironically interested in this game. You look at Tumwater's got Ella Ferguson, it's got Kylie Waltermeyer. And those are kind of the only consistent bats they have. And like when they played Rochester, which was their last good matchup, when they played WF West, their 2 big matchups to start, they had good days at the plate. And then once you got past them in the order, it was 6 or 7 outs there. And Tumwater's big thing is kind of finding that depth behind them, because otherwise they're really only score runs in 2 or 3 innings, which is what happened against WF West, which is what happened against Rochester. In those games they split, but Centralia, I mean, and the other thing about Tumwater is that Ella Ferguson is very good, but she throws fast. Mm-hmm. But by the 5th or 6th inning, maybe some people are catching up to that, and they have no plan B.
yeah.
So as WF West proved, and as Rochester almost proved, it only takes 2 or 3 swings. You stack 2 or 3 hits, and suddenly you got a real shot in that game. And Centralia proved against WF West that it can put 2 or 3 hits together and put runs across. So I'm interested in how this one goes.
All right. Which one of you gets to go cover that? Is that you, Josh?
I actually don't know.
It's day by day.
Yeah.
I don't even think Josh knows where he's going today.
You didn't put me on the schedule for anything, so I don't.
Yeah, sorry.
Tuesday, WFS at Tumwater baseball. Shout out to the schedulers. Why?
Because for softball, Tumwater played WF West the first game of the season.
Ah.
And they played Rochester the game after that. Tumwater plays WF West baseball 3 times in the last 3 weeks of the season. Like, none of this early crap.
Yeah.
They're playing 2 games next week. They're playing Tuesday, Wednesday. And then they're playing, I think, the second to last game of the season. They're playing a one-off. Both teams are rolling. Played the good game. Like, somebody realized that these were going to be the good games, and they put them in the back half when the teams were really getting up to speed.
Right. Didn't WF West football open with Tumwater for a league or some crap like that,
Yeah,
too?
something like that.
It's like, what are we doing here?
They used to always save that one for the end of the year.
Exactly.
Or like near the end of the year, obviously you got to put the Swamp Cup last, but like, why open? Obviously, the 2 best teams in the league, like, do not open league between, and softball did that. They opened league against each other.
Yeah, and I know the Tubies have had that in the past. I mean, like, Tootle plays Toledo in the first week of the season. This was the first time in like 3 years that Tootle Lake baseball didn't play Kalama in the opening.
Right.
Like, everybody likes to put these matchups, the big matchups, at the beginning of the season. Put them at the end of the season. Do this. This is a lot better.
Do you guys want to talk about the sweet comments on the RPI post by the WIAA?
I've been talking so much for the past 5 minutes, so how about you two?
Ran off.
It just cracks me up. So in the 3A rankings, this is of no concern to anybody around here, but like West Seattle is number 6 in the baseball rankings. And again, these are like
Computer generated.
It's computer generated.
Yeah.
It's numbers.
This is the chat GPT of rankings.
Yeah. And some of the comments: brutal miscalculation of the current standings of Washington State. No justice, no peace. Like, what are we doing?
Is that
here?
a hashtag? No justice, no peace.
No, they didn't. They didn't hashtag it, but they should have. Why is West Seattle so high? They suck. Alternately, blasphemous how West Seattle could not be top 3. If I were the person who was forced to post this, I would strongly consider my allegiance and delete this.
I feel like that's like a Chad Kramer move to come. Like, I think the guy who's like West Seattle sucks. Why are they so high? It's like a ghost account. It's like the coach trying to like get his players riled up. Like, look what they're saying about us. You think Chad Kramer would do that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure Kramer has created a few burners. In his day.
Josh Salguero, he's terrible. This guy.
And then another one.
Josh, what they said about you.
I analyzed it similarly. The only reason we could be ranked so low is due to the fact that they hate us because they ain't us. Again, these are numbers. The numbers do not care about you one way or the other.
Okay, but when the numbers do care about you, did you see the 2A softball RPI?
Centralia number 2? Absolutely. They got it right. I feel like they'll probably drop after this.
And
That was a
WF
couple
West
years ago.
nowhere to be seen. Or
Wild.
Tumwater.
Yeah, both those teams have played too many 4A and 3A teams, and those count as 500 teams for some reason to the RPI.
And Adna not being on the 2B RPI board is hilarious. 'Cause they've only played 3 games or whatever.
They might never really make it on there because there's only like a month left until districts start, I think. And like, they're only going to play some league teams. So like, I can't imagine the computer is going to be like, wow, an 8-2 Adna team. Let's put them in the top 10,
I'm sure they'll wind up on there eventually.
It's the computer.
Districts.
I'm not disrespecting Adna. I just think the computer setup is dumb.
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to look at their win? I guess they could beat number 5 Rainier and number 7 Toledo and
Yeah,
number
that'll move them up a little bit.
9 Kalama.
Did you see where the 2B baseball state Final Four is?
It's in the Tri-City?
It's in Ephrata.
Freda. We're not going to that.
You're not going to go to beautiful Ephrata?
No.
Do you know where Ephrata is?
Yeah.
I had to look it up. Like, I had a general idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to like describe. I don't know what I would like say where it was, but they at my old job they were in the same like league as Ellensburg.
It's kind of by like Moses Lake
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Kind of like
What a weird site to play it at. Like what everyone else is playing at like the Bellingham Bells and I think the 3A 4As, where are they at?
I mean, it is kind of like right between Seattle and Spokane.
Yeah, and I guess there's more teams over there. But then played at Yakima. What's going on in Yakima?
The 2A baseball, probably?
No, that's in Bellingham.
Oh, really? Yeah, played in Yakima. You're right.
Or there's like a boatload of fields in Tri-Cities too, if you really want it to be on the east side.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
play it at a high school venue.
It's almost right in the middle of the state if you look at a map.
Oh, well.
So, yeah, I don't know. Cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
No. Is there anything you want to talk about?
No, I'm good. Everything's fine. All right. We'll talk to you next week.